it's nearly Valentine's Day, which some of you might think is wonderful and others of you might not do much with it. Well, as it so happens, Bob and I have pronounced 2020 the year of loving, and so Valentine's is something we really enjoy. So, what gets in the way of you and your partner being really connected? Because connection, that includes physical and emotional connection, is very, very important for your relationship. Without that connection, you're obviously going to be distanced from one another, and that can start to feel very painful. So one of the things, there are lots of things that get in the way of disconnection, but one of the main things I've noticed with couples I work with, that they often don't talk about things until they get very difficult, or they talk about a lot of mundane things, which we all need to do, obviously. We've got the mundane in our lives. But when there are certain patterns in a relationship, sort of habitual ways of being that maybe create separation or spark off anger, things that happen a lot and you recognize them, you know they're there and they go on and on. And somehow, unless you talk about them and share with each other, and I don't just mean talk, but for example, share when one of you notices that you're being triggered, that something your partner does or says is triggering you. And when you get triggered, you might have a response like a sharp, word comes out of you. Well, that response is quite destructive. So if you can catch yourself, if you can notice that trigger and that, push to have that sharp word, and you can catch yourself and you can say, oh, I'm just going to tell you, I'm noticing I've got that sharpness coming up. That's an amazing thing for your partner to hear, because they're not getting the sharp word. What they're getting is what's going on for you. And then they can really get that you're working on it. You're talking about yourself, which is valuable. And things can feel so very different. And when you can actually share that you're having that feeling of sharpness because of the trigger, then you can actually say, oh, well, I'm going to do it differently. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, oh, I've got this trigger going on, but I'm going to change what I say. Going to make it softer, going to connect. So that is a big key to sharing what's going on for yourself personally, rather than being sharp and blaming your partner, which is in a way just so easy to do. It just, slips out at times. But if you look after that trigger, share it, tell your partner what's going on, everything softens and there's a possibility of change and doing it differently, perhaps lovingly. So remember, connection is emotional and physical. But without that feeling of being connected by sharing, then you'll find that you don't feel emotionally close and you certainly don't feel like touching one another. So open it out, sharing what's going on for you, creating a loving connection with one another. Not just Valentine's, but whenever you can.